Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on the Flash Season 8. So this is going to be another Q&A video that we did similar to last week, where pretty much I asked you guys on the community tab. My bad though, I forgot to ask you in my review for this week. So I'll try and remember to do that next week, or this upcoming week, might I say. I forgot to do that, my bad. But I did ask you on the community tab to leave any questions you have about the Flash in general, but I guess specifically leading out of episode 2 or part 2 of Armageddon, and then leading into episode 3 or part 3 and beyond. So thank you to everyone that did that. Similar to last week and just in general with Q&As, I didn't pick every single question because most likely the question you asked fits into another question someone else asked, and I just chose that person instead. So there's no, favorites. It's just, I guess the question was worded better, if you want to call it. But yeah, of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know your general thoughts and everything like that in regards to the questions and topics we go over. I'm always curious to hear what you guys are thinking, especially if it's different than mine, because all the different opinions matter in the world. It's how the world, goes around. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video and you're looking forward to everything in regards to the Flash this season and the upcoming episode, why not drop a like on the video to show your support for the video, the channel, and everything. So first up, the first question comes from John Coles HYT. I think I've got that correct. And this is a question that a lot of people are asking in some way, shape, or form in the comment section, and that is Joe really dead? Did he actually die? Now, this is obviously a big question that everyone's going to have, on the tip of their tongue, in their head, asking out, and just in general out there, until it's really answered on the show. And this is my thoughts. Is Joe really dead? In the show's timeline that we have at the moment, yes, in my opinion, because what I think is happening with the show at the moment, and I'll probably, go over this again with like different context, I guess you could say, in another video either tomorrow or the next day, in regards to some other stuff going on with the show. I think we're in an alternate timeline at the moment. I think that's what's going on with Barry, and that's why there's just so much stuff going on, because if you think about it, we have Star Labs being, shut down, it's going to be destroyed, Barry being suspended from his job, Joe being dead, all this other stuff going, like the Flash is now a villain within Central City. There's too much crazy stuff going on for this to be the proper timeline. There's no way this can be the proper timeline. So this is either an alternate timeline or potentially an alternate reality. And in my live stream that I did this week, I was like, it could be an alternate reality. I don't want it to be an alternate reality because that feels like a bit of a cop-out and a bit of a cheap way to do it. Like it's just going on in Barry's head. It has to be an alternate timeline. And also technically, I guess if it's an alternate reality that Barry would be in, we wouldn't get scenes outside of Barry. So we wouldn't get all the stuff at the Citizen that didn't involve Barry, that was just between Allegra and other people, or Iris and Allegra. We wouldn't have got that scene in this week's episode that just went past with Chester and Allegra. And various things like that. We're getting scenes that exist outside of Barry that Barry wouldn't have known about. So due to that, I don't think it can be an alternate reality. However, it can be an alternate timeline and we can still experience those things and see them on screen. So my thought is that Joe is dead in this alternate timeline, but Barry's going to have to do something that will bring Joe back to life or erase that Joe would ever have died, if that makes sense. So that's what I think is happening. However, we do actually have a quote from Eric Wallace, and it's pretty rare I do include external things within Q&A videos, but this is something that he said about Joe leading into season 8. So before we'd even, episode 2 had even aired, this is what he said. Let's just say that Joe is going to get an incredibly different perspective on life, and it's going to lead him to, I think, a really big choice. Everybody seems to think the big choice he made was last year to put down his badge, but there is a much bigger choice coming his way in season 8 that takes the character down a path that he didn't know he was on, but that will feel like it's the place he always needed to go. So make of that what you will. I'm very curious to see what that even means in the context of the show when Joe gets reintroduced, because based off that, Joe's getting reintroduced. We're actually going to see Joe on screen. We know that he filmed stuff for season 8. So that just matters when he shows up, not if. But I think for him to show up, Barry's going to have to either change the timeline completely or snap out of whatever's going on. But the next question comes from Nathan Wong, and they ask, what are your thoughts on Zotar's appearance? Is she Armageddon material? With Joe confirmed dead in, I think he's meant to say episode 2, do you think there will be another Flashpoint to bring him back, or has he been killed off? In regards to Zotar, I thought she was fine, because I think with this thing, we're just getting like these villains of the week to sort of mess with Barry, or sort of play their part. And I think she played her part pretty much perfectly for what needed to happen, because it was meant to be a bit of a misdirect. Barry thinks Zotar is the reason he's doing what he's doing, and I think in this week's episode, episode 3, Barry's going to find out the truth, that it had nothing really to do with Zotar, and she was just maybe placed there to be a bit of a misdirect. So I think she served her purpose. Would I want to see her again? Sorry. I don't think anyone's going to be clamoring for it. Not saying the actress did a bad job, but it was just pretty much a basic telepathic, telekinetic villain, comic booky villain. That's what it was. But I think she served her purpose. But in regards to Joe and causing another Flashpoint or something to bring him back, let's just say I think they're going to have to do something in that manner. Whether it is actually Barry time traveling, or erasing something that has time traveled or will time travel, or time travel to the point before that person time travels, if that makes sense. I think that was English, so hopefully that made sense. Hugo Trecht, hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Why does the Flash stop to talk to every villain instead of staying in Flash time when he's running to them and just capturing them, aside from TV show reasons? In regards to if you just capture them and put them in Iron Heights, I can understand that reason. In regards to fighting them, the Flash has always been a villain that tries to talk to people before fighting them. He's literally that whole try and do stuff verbally before having to do stuff physically. Now, in some cases, a villain just has to be taken down physically because they might already be, shooting someone or punching someone or lasering someone, something along those lines, where of course the Flash is going to come in and just grab them and deal with them there. But if they're just threatening, then the Flash has always been that thing in the comics, in the animated stuff as well, where he'll talk to the villain before taking them down. So I know it can be annoying on a TV side, especially if it happens episode after episode, which it was a big case last season, and I don't think they spread it out very well, but it is a thing from the comics and the TV, like the animated shows and everything like that. Abdul Hakim Wells, I have a question. Does this take place, like Armageddon, I guess, take place after Supergirl, or does it take place during Supergirl, and how does it fit with Batwoman showing up? We know that The Flash takes place during November because it's 6 months after Joe's death, and we know Joe died in May. So we're in middle to late November, like we are in real life, but also on the show as well. I'm not too sure where Supergirl was. I'm assuming it's after Supergirl because of just where they were, because their season was meant to be I guess in the same sort of time space as season 7 of The Flash. So this is definitely after Supergirl. In regards to where Armageddon fits on Batwoman's timeline, I have no idea where Batwoman is in regards to a calendar. I guess they'd be somewhat close to each other, but also we're led to believe it's on an alternate timeline, so it really wouldn't matter, I guess, unless Batwoman shows up after the timeline is fixed, or we're out of this alternate timeline potentially. But I guess they'd be also somewhere around that point of the year, like November-ish, something like that. So yeah, it would definitely after Supergirl's ended at least. Krish Patel asked, after these few episodes, what do you think are the consequences of Armageddon that will ripple throughout the Arrowverse? As I've sort of alluded to before, I'd have to assume the consequences are the consequences of time travel, or jumping to a different timeline. We saw the consequences of Flashpoint, and that was not too much change. Barry didn't change too much, if you know what I mean. He changed one thing, which was, he saved his mum and then he had to let his mum die again. But things still changed from Flashpoint, even though he allowed the event to play out itself, or play itself out again. But with this, he might have to stop multiple things from happening, if you know what I mean. So the consequences I don't want to say they could be so much bigger, but there could be more consequences. So I'm not saying the world's dead when he comes back from the timeline or something like that, but it's just that there could be, okay, this was caused by Armageddon, that's a big thing. This was caused by changing, the timeline of Armageddon, etc., etc. And I'm curious to see what they are. And the thing is that I don't know if we'll get too many answers to that. We might get some little hints in part 5 of Armageddon, but then we have a massive wait until the beginning of March for episode 6, because Flash takes a big break so other shows in the CW can fit in, and Flash gets a cleaner run. So we have to wait 3 months, actually 3.5 months or something like that, to get the payoff to these potential consequences of the end of Armageddon, which will be, I think, torturous to wait for. Spectre-Man 2.0 asked, if Brandon Routh's Kingdom Come Superman was to get a series, do you think it'll be on HBO Max or CW? So this isn't really specifically related to Armageddon, but I thought it included because we talked about it last episode, or last Q&A, I think it was. or last week in a video. So I thought I'd just include it here again because I'm assuming that's why it's come up again. I think if you got a series, it'd actually be a limited series. I don't think they do like a seasonal thing, like season 1 of it, season 2, season 3. I think you'd get like a 6 to 10 episode miniseries with it, and it'd have to be on HBO Max. Like they don't do that in the CW. It's not cost effective to just do a 10 episode thing. It's either multiple seasons or nothing, you know, so it'd have to be HBO Max. And finally, J. Jonah Jameson asked, how do you think Stargirl will have their inevitable crossover with The Flash? In regards to the specifics of it and like, you know, how directly they would play into it, I'd have no idea, but I would be guessing fairly confidently that Stargirl will cross over in next year's crossover in end of November, December, because that's the 10th year anniversary, or next season is the 10th like season of the Arrowverse, or the 10th year that the Arrowverse has been on, or at least it marks the 10-year anniversary since Arrow debuted, if that makes sense. So that's the best way to put it. So I think we'll get a decently sized 10-year anniversary crossover, which will involve all the shows, past, present, and potentially future, I guess, as well as things like Stargirl, potentially Naomi can cross over, you know, even stuff from the HBO Max stuff as well, and previous things like that. So that wouldn't surprise me at all if that's where we get the initial crossover with Stargirl and the rest of the Arrowverse, and I guess specifically the Flash. But that's for us to wait and find out, because that is still a decent amount of time away. But yeah, guys, that's it. There's not many questions because there were a good amount of questions, but a lot of them fitted into the stuff that we went over in this video with other people's questions, if that makes sense. But yeah, as I said, I'll try to remember to mention in my review, so you can leave questions in that. Even if I forget, that's the place that you can leave questions in regards to a specific video if you want to do that after Armageddon Part 3 airs, and you can be in this video as well. But I'll try and remember to do it. And of course, I'll leave another community post, you know, closer to the weekend next week, or in this upcoming weekend. I think I'm talking English in this video. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like and it shows support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts, opinions, theories, everything like that. Always curious to read them. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.